Everyone knows ChatGPT. It's the household name, the giant in the room. But there's another AI that's quietly becoming the absolute favorite of developers, researchers, and even Fortune 500 companies around the globe. So, what makes Claude so special? Why are the most demanding tech professionals out there completely migrating to this platform for their absolute most complex work? For a lot of them, it's not just a chat interface anymore. It's becoming the core, trusted engine of their entire digital stack. To understand the massive shift happening in artificial intelligence right now, we really have to look at how Claude was born, because honestly, it reads like a high-stakes tech thriller. But why did Anthropic build Claude when ChatGPT already existed? I mean, what was the missing piece in the AI race that made a group of top-tier scientists literally walk away from the biggest AI lab in the world? Well, let's dive into the timeline. Back in 2021, the AI arms race was really starting to heat up. Labs are pushing boundaries at breakneck speed. But several senior researchers and executives at OpenAI, including Vice President of Research Dario Amodei and Vice President of Safety Danielle Amati, felt the industry was prioritizing commercial speed over fundamental safety. It was essentially a visionary rebellion. They left to found Anthropic as a public benefit corporation. And that's absolutely crucial, because that legal structure actually shields them from prioritizing short-term profits over long-term human safety. Fast forward through a relentless pace of innovation, and by mid-2026, they're deploying frontier models like Claude Fable 5. And this perfectly illustrates their entire philosophy. Anthropic views building AI not like building a fast car, where you just, strap a seatbelt on at the very end. They view it like building a safe nuclear reactor. You don't just maximize the electrical output and hope for the best. You build the cooling loops and containment structures from day one. You deeply integrate them into the core engineering to prevent a meltdown before it ever happens. To actually achieve this, Anthropic had to invent a completely new way of training artificial intelligence. So, what exactly makes their approach, which they call constitutional AI, fundamentally different from the rest of the industry? Okay, let's break this down simply. Traditional AI models learn right from wrong through human trial and error. Think of it like a common law legal system, built over time by thousands of individual human judgments. But constitutional AI is like a civil law system. It operates on a strict written constitution. So, as a practical example, if you ask an AI for instructions on how to hack a website, a traditional model might just give you a canned evasive refusal because human graders slapped its wrist in the past. But Claude evaluates the request against its written principles, recognizes it violates property rights, and can intelligently pivot to explaining network security defenses instead. Technically, this is a shift from RLHF to what's called RLAIF, reinforcement learning from AI feedback. And this constitution isn't just some basic prompt. We're talking about a robust 23,000-word document drawing from heavily vetted sources like the UN Universal Declaration of Human Rights. By training the AI on these explicit principles, Claude doesn't just blindly memorize rules. It actually understands the why behind ethical boundaries. That means it can explain its refusals to you with actual context, rather than just abruptly shutting down the conversation like a lot of other bots do. Now, a lot of people assume that adding all these safety features automatically makes an AI less capable or overly restrictive. But when you actually look at the data, it produces what's called a Pareto improvement, a literal win-win. By forcing the AI to evaluate its own logic against a complex constitution, constitutional AI actually improves the model's logical reasoning and reduces factual errors. Safety doesn't ruin the AI, guys. It actually makes it incredibly robust and reliable. Okay, so we know how it learns its values, but how does Claude actually work internally when you type in a prompt? Let's simplify the mechanics here. At its core, Claude is constantly calculating the most likely next piece of a sentence. Imagine a professional orchestra conductor. The conductor isn't just listening to one violinist in isolation, right? They're monitoring the tempo, the volume, and the interaction of every single instrument simultaneously to shape the next moment of music. In practice, when you ask Claude a complex question, it evaluates every single word in your prompt in relation to every other word. Technically, this is achieved through its underlying transformer architecture and a multi-head self-attention mechanism, allowing it to generate incredibly nuanced, context-aware responses. And this internal architecture has evolved at absolute lightning speed. Think of Claude's evolution like the cellular network in your smartphone. Claude 1 was like 1G, basic single-turn conversations. Claude 2 was 2G, expanding context so you could feed it long documents. Claude 3 was 3G, introducing vision so it could see charts and interfaces. Claude 4 brought 4G agentic automation, acting almost like an autonomous worker. And the latest 2026 Claude 5 generation, that is full 5G, capable of long-horizon, autonomous knowledge work that literally runs over multiple days. But the crucial point here is that Anthropic doesn't just offer one single model. They offer entire families of models tailored for different tasks, all accessible through various pricing plans like a free tier, a pro plan for heavy users, or a team plan for enterprise workspaces. Haiku is your speed demon. It's incredibly fast and cheap for lightweight tasks. Sonnet, specifically Sonnet 5, is the balanced powerhouse, giving you near-flagship intelligence for everyday coding and writing. Opus handles deep, sustained reasoning, and sitting at the absolute frontier of artificial intelligence are the Mythos-class models, like Fable 5, designed for the most demanding, days-long software engineering tasks. And across these advanced models, you get access to a staggeringly large number, 1 million. Let's translate what this actually means. This number represents Claude's context window, essentially its short-term working memory. Imagine trying to read an entire 1,000-page legal contract and holding every single clause in your head at the exact same time so you can instantly spot contradictions. That's a practical example of what a 1 million token context limit allows Claude to do in seconds. It also enables deep memory and personalization, allowing Claude to remember vast amounts of your specific project guidelines flawlessly across a massive working session. Because of this massive working memory and that deep logical reasoning, we have to ask, why do developers explicitly trust Claude with their most complex, massive code bases? It all comes down to its agentic capabilities, particularly a tool called Claude Code. With Claude Code, you aren't just chatting. You're essentially pair programming with a senior software engineer. It can read your entire code base locally, find where a bug is hiding, edit the source files, and actually run the compiler. If it hits a syntax error, it will autonomously self-correct and verify the fix. And because Anthropic strongly supports the open-source Model Context Protocol, or MCP, Claude can securely connect directly to your local developer tools and databases, taking the tedious busy work completely out of software engineering. But hey, it's not just for programmers. Claude has real-world superpowers across the board. Students use it to digest massive research papers instantly. Biologists use the Frontier Fable 5 model to analyze incredibly complex life science data. And businesses are heavily relying on Claude's multimodal vision. It has a best-in-class ability to look at messy, imperfect images, like a hand-drawn schematic or a blurry financial chart, and flawlessly transcribe it. Plus, with the Artifacts feature, it actively generates code, websites, and documents in a dedicated workspace right next to your chat. It's a total game changer. But with all this insane capability, a massive question arises, especially for Fortune 500 companies and government agencies handling sensitive information. What about privacy and security? Well, this is where Anthropic's origin story pays off big time. Because they were founded as a safety-first public benefit corporation, enterprise trust is literally through the roof. Their models, especially in the Claude 5 generation, are built from the ground up with advanced cyber safeguards and safety classifiers. So if you're a hospital uploading patient records or a law firm parsing highly confidential contracts, Anthropic's transparent alignment and strict data handling protocols make Claude the absolute go-to secure environment. So, the ultimate question for anyone looking to adopt an AI assistant: how does it really stack up against the other giants in the room, ChatGPT and Google's Gemini? Looking at it objectively, they're built with entirely different philosophies. If you want a highly conversational, creative brainstorming buddy, ChatGPT is incredible. If you want deep, seamless integration into the Google ecosystem, Gemini is phenomenally powerful. But Claude is an absolute beast for structured work. Its strengths lie in advanced coding, digesting those massive million-token contexts, and providing nuanced, reliable answers without hallucinating facts. However, its strict safety training can sometimes be a weakness. It can occasionally be overcautious, refusing a totally benign prompt just because it brushes up against a rule, and it might feel a little less loose and, fun creatively compared to ChatGPT. Looking ahead, Anthropic's roadmap is fascinating. They view the future of AI kind of like the evolution of civil aviation. They aren't just trying to build a faster jet engine. They're building the air traffic control and complex safety systems to match. We're looking at self-improving workflows, agents that can operate autonomously over multi-week horizons, and groundbreaking research into mechanistic interpretability. That means literally mapping the internal brain of the AI model to understand exactly why it thinks the way it does, ensuring absolute control as these systems scale. Which brings us to the ultimate verdict of this explainer. Claude, Gemini, and ChatGPT are designed with fundamentally different strengths. If you need a distraction-free, highly capable digital research archivist, a true coding powerhouse, and an AI that prioritizes deep reasoning and enterprise-grade safety, well, Claude is likely exactly what you've been looking for. Choosing the right model depends entirely on your specific needs. If AI is already capable of writing its own code and mapping its own logic, what will it be capable of doing for you tomorrow? This was day 2 of our 60-day AI challenge. Tomorrow, we'll explore another AI model or concept that's shaping the future of technology. Subscribe so you don't miss it.